The Showtime Fever are back, baby.
Was it as much fun as it looked like to people watching it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I thought the last game was a much needed win, but this game was just like on another level because the last game showed the Fever still have it. I saw glimpses of what they would be able to do. Now, Caitlin Clark just came back from injury. She is still getting her sea legs. The last game, her energy was very different, very down. It was so different in this game. She was like much more like sprite, like much more like defensive minded. She was hitting some threes. Now, she did not have the best 3-point field goal percentage, but everybody on this team looked good. I saw Kelsey Mitchell making backdoor cuts. I miss backdoor cut Kelsey Mitchell a la 2024. Even Natasha Howard stepped it up. Now, I'm of the personal opinion that she might have got talked to, maybe looked at the film and told, definitely keep the ball in Caitlin Clark's hands. Don't bring the ball down when Caitlin Clark is right there. Don't look her off. And Natasha Howard is a good player. I always say this in all my videos, and I often question her place on the team. And if her inability to adjust is not going to happen in a timely manner, then they should probably rotate her in and off the bench. And they have been rotating her in and off the bench, but she improved. Now, she still has tunnel vision, but she came away with 18 points, 2 steals. She did only have 2 rebounds. She usually gets a lot of rebounds. A double-double is very common for Natasha Howard, and she was a plus 22 on the court. Again, there was a bit of the tunnel vision. I think she's one of those players who is not used to playing with a heliocentric player like Caitlin Clark, but I do see her making adjustments. And honestly, considering like all of the stretch fours that are out there, there isn't a lot to pull from. So I really do hope that Natasha Howard does acclimate because I think she could be a very big asset to this team. I mean, when you think about it, the 4 position, that is like the position that all the stars play. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Satu Sabali, Brianna Stewart. Anyway, enough about that because let's just talk about the 100 points that they just dropped on the Dallas Wings. In the first quarter, the Dallas Wings were up. They were up for a few minutes. That quickly started changing, and the Showtime Fever came in off the bench in the second quarter. Everybody had their moments. The Indiana Fever's defense was locking up the Dallas Wings. Arike Ogunbowale went 0 for 10. And according to Hunter Cruz, Arike Ogunbowale is the first WNBA player in a decade to shoot 0 for 10 or worse with a -20 plus-minus. The only other player that has done that that's still in the league is Jewel Lloyd. And if you would have said this last year, people would have thought you were crazy, or in especially 2023. But Jewel Lloyd did this in 2015. I am not surprised that it's Jewel Lloyd. Looking at her performance from this season, she is having a crazy season. But the Fever were all gas, no breaks, especially in the second quarter. The third quarter did slow down a bit, but that second quarter made everything worth it. Now, Caitlin Clark, again, is still having a bit of trouble sinking those threes, but she did come away with 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals. Aaliyah Boston came away with 17 points. She only had 3 rebounds, but she did have 3 assists. I did notice that Lee Rue was giving her a hard time around the glass. But I do love some Lee Rue, I gotta admit. In the last game I saw her in, she sank 4 3-pointers. Kelsey Mitchell dropped a 20-piece with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And at the very end, I think she was just kind of playing around with the Wings with this like crazy circus assist. Now, it did not go in, but it was kind of fun to watch. But the cross-court passes from Caitlin, we have been missing. At the very beginning, Caitlin did tease us from downtown here. She even sank a midi fadeaway. A fadeaway, not a very common shot for Caitlin Clark. And though she's only played like half of the games this season, she has the 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA history. We got some pick and rolls back from Aaliyah and AB. And just to like run down the roster, again, I will say Natasha Howard, I did like her performance tonight. I do think she has a little bit of tunnel vision, but I do see improvements in her game, and especially her game with Caitlin. I was looking at her stats, and there are a lot of games that we would not have won without Natasha Howard, but her assist percentage is very low. And I went deep into these stats, and her assist percentage is getting a little better. I think that again, I am one of those people that I said that in 2 to 4 games, we're going to start seeing Showtime fever. It ended up being 2 games where it started coming out. In 4 games, who even knows? I mean, disclaimer, we did play the Wings, but I will say that we pretty much belted Atlanta too. So I see this Indiana Fever team as a team to look out for. Lexi Hull had her moments. She did sink a 3-point shot, which if you've been watching my games, if you follow what I want to see in the Indiana Fever is I want to see her driving to the basket less, and I want to see her spotting up at the 3 more. So she sank 1 3-pointer. She wasn't in for very long. She was only in for 18 minutes. And, she was okay. There was some defense in her and some grit that I really liked. But overall, in the past few games, she hasn't been as aggressive as I love seeing her be. And Caitlin Clark is still on a minutes restriction. So those 14 points came in 25 minutes. Those 13 assists came in 25 minutes. And those 5 steals came in 25 minutes. Demiris Dantas, I don't know if she left that 30-point game back in another country. It didn't have a passport to cross the border or something, because in Americup, she put on a show dropping 35 points, and today she went 1 for 8. So kind of different game. She made 1 bucket. Everyone is entitled to an off game, especially in a blowout like this. Michaela Timpson, I love her on defense. Like, she is going to grow into such a good player. She is going to be such a threat. She definitely has to hone her offensive skills. She just drives, and she also has tunnel vision. I think she needs to get a little more court awareness and start kicking out instead of driving into multiple defenders. And I don't know if she's trying to garner a foul or what, but I think the tunnel vision, getting your sea legs in the pros or whatever, is very obvious in Michaela Timpson. But again, she makes such a great impact on the court. I think this was a great game for her to be in, because the Dallas Wings also have a lot of rookies, and the rookies are dominant on the Dallas Wings. Like, JJ Quinterly is such a good player. The way that she moves, her athleticism, her handles, her ability to make shots that are very hard to get. Isaiah James did not have a game like she normally has, Isaiah James on the wings, but she is also such a dominant presence on the wings. I mean, Paige Bueckers is Paige Bueckers. She puts down a 20-piece like all the time. And the Dallas Wings were playing so well when Arike and Dejanay were out. And actually, speaking of Dejanay, she did not even show up to the game. But after the tweet that she posted last season, I don't know that I'd want to be there either. Sophie Cunningham had another great game with the points. She came away with 13 points, and she did go 2 for 3 at the 3-point line. Overall, she went 5 for 6. I mean, she stepped it up. She is doing what they brought her over to do. She made a few disruptions, and I saw her get 5 rebounds. She got 5 rebounds. She had 3 assists too. And to all the Fever fans out there that are pumped for this game, Sophie Cunningham appreciates you. She said, "I think we have the best fans in the whole W. I know every team says that, but they're lying because I'm telling the truth. We have to protect our home court, and when we can fire up these fans, they're feisty, they're sassy, they're kind of just like me." Erin McDonald was not as impactful in this game as she very often is. And there is a moment where she looked off Caitlin Clark when Caitlin Clark was wide open. She was open twice, actually, and Ari did not pass her the ball. She did eventually pass Caitlin the ball, but it was in a moment where there was a lot of congestion and very hard for anybody to make that shot. I'm going to assume that they're going to look over film and they're going to see this, and Ari will adjust, because overall, I do like the impact that Ari has made on the team. She did come away with 6 assists, 2 steals, and 5 rebounds. I mean, Erin McDonald, she's 5'6". To get 5 rebounds is pretty impressive. And it was really funny watching this game, because in the beginning, Caitlin was driving to the basket. She was getting consistently fouled and then finally called for a foul. And in the replay, Rebecca Lobo calls it out. She says she was fouled there, and then they finally called a foul. So it's kind of nice to have the broadcaster witness what is going on, because I don't think that there's anybody that is fouled as much as Caitlin Clark and not called for it. Paige Bueckers, again, this is no shade to Paige because I do love Paige as a player, but she just jumps into players and she gets that whistle. She is a rookie in this league and she already has like a vet whistle. There was one play where she jumped into Michaela Timpson. She did not get called for the foul and she was visibly upset about it. But Paige did come away with 21 points. She also had 4 assists and 2 steals, 4 rebounds also. And honestly, everybody else in double digits was the rookies and Lee Yuru, who I love. I love Lee Yuru. But Isaiah James had 11 points, JJ Quinterly had 13 points, and Lee Yuru had 16. The Dallas Wings are owned by their rookies. The Dallas Wings and the Indiana Fever were dead even in rebounds, but the Indiana Fever had 30 assists in this game. 30. Now, the Dallas Wings had 24, which is still pretty good, but man, were they turning over the ball. There was 17 turnovers for Dallas to the Indiana Fever's 8. But Showtime Fever are back. They had good ball movement. They were taking more threes than normal. We saw some pick and rolls. They shot 51% and 33% at the three. They actually took 24 shots and the Dallas Wings only took 19 and both teams made 8. But the fact that they're taking more, I love to see this. The Indiana Fever were just so dominant that it didn't really matter. Like, it didn't matter that it was a game for Michaela Timpson to experiment and get better at the offense because they were just blowing out the Dallas Wings. And today was the last day to waive players, and Brianna Turner did not get waived, so she will be there. And you know what? There is, like, most teams have somebody that are DNPs. Last season, the Indiana Fever had Grace Berger, Victoria Saxton, but I'm not worried because there is a lot of cap space left. There is one roster spot for the Indiana Fever to pick a big. I am genuinely, like, I can't predict who they're going to pick. And it's very odd because I usually have a little bit of an idea, but I really don't. I mean, I've mentioned Chloe Bibby. I've mentioned wanting Ami here, but the Valkyries ended up keeping Ami here, so that's out. Misaman, there's no way she's gonna come to the Indiana Fever. Like, that's, a pipe dream. There could be some players over in Europe that I'm just not fully aware of, and I think the front office is definitely seeing the rally cries from fans because Kelly Krauskopf turned off her social media, so she was definitely seeing things, getting tagged a lot. And one of the things that I saw them getting tagged a lot in was bring someone over from Europe, make a move. I guarantee that they're thinking about this, like when this is going to happen. I'm not totally sure because I think it's slim pickings. But don't want to think about that now because I'm just like pretty high off of this dub because the tempo was raised, the pace was fast, the cross-court hail assists, the pick and rolls, Kelsey Mitchell cutting backdoor, shooting more threes. I mean, what else could you ask for except for a few logo bombs?